Joe Tillman. Welcome to Old Mission Immigrants Part 4. The Matthias Zabornik family's journey to Iowa. Matthias and Rosa Zabornik are my great-great-great-grandparents. If you have a written account of your immigrant ancestors' journey to America, you are very fortunate. This segment uses documentation of things I located and information I have read about the Czech immigration to Iowa. Note, please pardon my Czech pronunciations. Some days I even have trouble speaking correct English. The Czech Republic is made up of 14 regions and 76 districts. Each region could be compared to a state, and each district compared to a county. The Zaborniks lived in the South Bohemia region and the Písek district. Most of the immigrants to northeast Iowa came from the Písek or Tabor districts. This is a map of the Zár area in the Czech Republic. Zár was the home of Rosa Kopet. She would marry Matthias Zabornik. Zársky Halupe was the home of Matthias Zabornik, her husband. Zár is located about 7 miles southeast of Písek, the capital city of this district. It is also about 3 miles north of Prodovan. Also of note is the Vltava River, which is about 7 miles away. Here is a picture of the village of Zár. Here's an interesting photo of another house in Zár. Notice the religious artwork. This is a photo of Zársky Halupe, Matthias Zabornik's home. And I have another interesting photo. North Central Europe map. The Zaborniks lived approximately here, and they needed to get to the port city of Bremen in Germany. How do we get there? Remember, at this point in time, river travel's the cheapest, so I assume the Zaborniks traveled the 7 miles to the Vltava River, went down it to where it joined the Elbe, followed that to Hamburg, Germany, then went by land over to Bremen. Approximate time they left would have been early September of 1853. There would have been 2 to 3 weeks of river travel, 1 to 2 weeks waiting for a ship, 6 weeks to cross the Atlantic Ocean. Excuse me. Partial Patriot ship passenger list. The ship came from Bremen. There is no date that it left. The ship manifests from 1832 to 1872 were burned in 1874. They arrived on the 26th of November, 1853. This is the Matthias Zabornik family. Notice he is listed as a Mason. The 0.9 means the child was 9 months old. Catherine would marry Bernard Kipp, my great-great-grandmother. Also, the next entry in the manifest was Wenzel Kopet, brother of Rose. His wife, Eleonora Solebek. I believe these are probably her brother and sister. Also on the ship was Franz Zeman. He would settle in Crawford County, Wisconsin, near Prairie du Chien. A continuation of the ship manifest. Joseph Drozda, another Cooper, who would stay in Dubuque. Franz Kramel and Joseph Handeck, who I believe to be Kral and Hodeck. I could not find any information that matched families living in the northeast Iowa area. Franz Rezebeck would go to St. Lucas, Iowa, in Fayette County. He would die from a prairie fire in 1863. Katharina Rezebeck is the last of the Czechs listed on this ship. What her connection is to Franz, I do not know. American routes west. Most immigrants arriving in New York City in this time period, headed to the western frontier, would take the railroad to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. What we know. Many Czech immigrants arriving in late 1853 went to Cleveland, Ohio, and wintered there, as there were Czech families already in Cleveland. Possible routes to Cleveland. Follow the canal to Lake Erie, arrive in Cleveland. Go from Pittsburgh by land to Cleveland. How did the Czech immigrants get to Dubuque, Iowa? Possible routes. They could have gone down a canal and joined the Ohio River, followed the Ohio River until it reached the Mississippi River, gone up the Mississippi River to Dubuque, Iowa. They could have gone on the Great Lakes, arrived in Green Bay, did a small land portage, followed the Wisconsin River, and then to Dubuque. Another way would have been on the Great Lakes, arriving in Chicago, maybe taking a train or going overland to Dubuque. The least likely way I assume they would have gone is to taken a straight land route across, as this would have taken a large amount of time. The first group of Czechs arrived in Dubuque in April of 1854. I know that Matthias Zabornik's family was in this group, as Rosalie gave birth to their son John on the 18th of May, 1854 at Dubuque. This concludes this segment. Thanks for listening. As Czechs would say, ahoy.